21 out of the 54 countries in Africa could be considered liberal democracies. Out of these 21 countries, shockingly, only 9 are considered flourishing democracies. Additionally, for there to be a successful implementation of a liberal democracy, there needs to be elections. But post-elections in Africa are marked by violence, the ever-growing concern of the validity of election results, and even the beginning of civil wars. This is the reality of liberal democracy in Africa. My stance is liberal democracy, otherwise known as Western democracy, does not work in Africa and should be eradicated. Instead, Africa should resurrect their own form of democracy, which is a consensus democracy that was used in pre-colonial Africa. Western democracy gives the majority the privilege to put a leader in power, while disregards the views of minority groups. Although this might be a very effective form of government in most Western countries, in Africa, far too many presidents often abuse this power to their own interest, or in some circumstances, the interest of the president's child, rather than the interest of every single citizen of that particular country. According to an article on CNN on democracy in Africa, President Kenyatta of Kenya and President Biya of Cameroon are both examples of presidents that use the nation's wealth to enrich their tribe rather than to invest in national development. Moreover, it is almost impossible to have free, fair, and transparent elections in Africa. This doesn't come as a surprise, knowing that the most rigged election of modern day history happened in Africa, Liberia in 1927, where Charles D.B. King, former president of Liberia, was elected. Mr. Charles supposedly got 240,000 votes, even though there were less than 15,000 registered votes. And although this might be a very extreme case, and some of you might say 1927 is a long time ago, but just as recently as 2011, President Museveni of Uganda allegedly tampered with the results of the presidential elections. The inevitable occurrence of post-election violence is also a major problem. Nigeria, one of the fastest growing economies in Africa, has seen violence 7 times out of the 8 elections they have had post-colonialism. Even countries that are practicing liberal democracies, such as Senegal, saw violence in the streets during the elections in 2012. Africa is a continent known for having different tribes and ethnicities. Some of you might have learned in history class that during the Berlin Conference, when the Europeans were slicing Africa into pieces, like the way you slice a pizza, the Europeans paid zero attention to ethnic boundaries in the continent. This led them to create countries that are rival tribes, or too much of one tribe in one country and a little in another. This obviously affects Africa today from a political standpoint, as ethnic divisions play a huge role in hampering the success of liberal democracy. In a liberal democracy, a majority of people can use their power to oppress minorities. This is better known as the tyranny of the majority. Ethnic majorities usually have the most control in almost all African governments. These ethnic majorities usually oppress the ethnic minorities in the country. This was the reason behind the unforgettable, devastating, heartbreaking Rwandan genocide in April 7, 1994, which involved the mass murder of members of the Tutsi tribe by members of the Hutu tribe, who were the majority in the Rwandan government. The alternative is a consensus democracy, which allows and considers the use of diverse views from every aspect of a state. In a traditional African society, a chief is chosen from an elders council. The elders council are different representatives from the different villages or clans. If issues arise, the chief cannot take any decision without consulting the elders council. As claimed by an article on CNN, this system of democracy was used by the Zulus of South Africa, the Igbo of Nigeria, the Ashanti of Ghana, and many other pre-colonial African societies. Similarly, different provinces in a country will select a representative from amongst themselves. These different representatives are selected up in the national council. In this national council is where a president is selected and decisions decisions are taken by consensus, which means every single one of the representatives in that country agree on the solutions of issues affecting the nation. This system will make sure you don't have to spend millions and millions of elections that prove to be a source of harm. It will also make sure that every group's needs are being met. It will see national harmony among citizens. However, critics say that this form of government might hamper national development, as it might include people motivated to destroy national development. In a traditional African society, leaders are chosen by their credibility, honesty, and their understanding of the interests of the people. If Africans select this type of individuals, they will easily circumvent this problem. Africa should implement a consensus democracy to a peaceful, successful, and